Guys, it's Lego Hobo 910 here with another Lego video. And in this video, I'm going to be reviewing set number 76054, Batman, Scarecrow, Harvest of Fear. So let's get right into the review. So first up is the cutest and one of the funniest builds in this, and I really like it just because it's really kind of cute and funny. And not to mention, my little brother really likes this. It's the farmer's rusty, worn down, vintage tractor. The license plate even says vintage. And then it just has these big wheels in the back, small wheels in the front to give it that tractor detail. And all over it, it's worn out because it has these metal patches just kind of glued on there where there's holes, and then some of it is worn out and brown now, and then there's piping exposed and some piping exposed there and there. And then the pipe to puff out the smoke with a light there, piping there. And there's a ball joint on the back. There's nothing for you to connect the ball joint to. It's just kind of a decoration thing. And if we take out the farmer, you can get a better look inside the cockpit there where it has the steering wheel. And then just this brown leather seat with the hinging back, so you can kind of position that however you want it and however the farmer's going to be sitting in it. So the next part of the set is Batman's helicopter, which I think is a bit larger than it needs to be because it's about the same size as, in fact, it's probably a bit bigger than what's supposed to be the main focus of the set, which is Scarecrow's Combine, because it's called Scarecrow Harvest of Fear. And this is actually bigger than it, and piece-wise, I'm not sure, but it probably uses more pieces. So let's just get into reviewing this. So on the top we have the rotor here like you would expect. It has 6 blades, and this does wobble slightly, which is a problem, but then spins nicely, spins fairly freely. And then if we move to the back, we have this giant oversized bat wing, which I would complain about if this was in a movie and this was like a movie set. But since it's just meant to be a comic book set, and comic books are silly and novelty and stuff, I'm fine with it, and in fact, I really like it. Though this rotor here this back rotor is too small, it also gets caught up on the pieces, so the piece there, so it can't really spin all too well. It's more so just decoration. Then on the side, we just have these guns, kind of smoothing out detail, and then we just have the landing pads on the bottom, some air inlets, and it's basically a mirror image on the other side. The top's just smoothed out nicely. The front, I'm not sure why it has that. It looks kind of like the helicopter has buck teeth. And now, we open up the cockpit, which has this Batman logo sticker on it. This opens up very smoothly and fairly nicely, except there's barely enough room to fit one figure in there, and he can't even hold his batarang. You just gotta lay it down, and then when he gets out, you can put it in his hand. And it looks fairly big, except in reality, there isn't much space in it, and it's hard to fit someone in there. And then this just kind of angles down. It doesn't actually perfectly close, just angles down there. And there isn't a control screen. This is basically what's meant to be the control screen. It's just meant to be a hologram control, if you understand what I mean by that, where it's just a hologram, and there aren't any actual buttons or keys. And then on the back here, we have this action feature where if you take this and push it in, it pops out these guns, 2 on each side, and then to fire them, it fires both on the side at the same time. You just push in, and the way that works is when you push in, it pushes against that gray bar piece there, which then triggers the firing mechanism. And it also comes with 4 extra studs to fill it, and then it also comes with an extra one in the set, I'm pretty sure is just an extra piece. And the problem with this is it's kind of hard to close, because you would expect you would just pull this back because you pushed it forward to extend them, or you would push these in to close it. Except when you push them in, it fires, and when you pull this back, since it's not actually attached to these side wings, it just pushes them out with that rod there. You gotta pull this back to get the rod back, then you gotta push each side in individually, so closing it is a bit of a hassle. So now we have the main bad guy vehicle in this, which the set is named after. This is Scarecrow's Combine, and I probably should have taken these off before I showed you, except I just wanted you to get another look at this because I just think that looks really awesome. Connecting them by their energy pulses, so it looks like they're just shooting at each other and having a battle, and then also I can give Blue Beetle the illusion of flying, but bye. They can't actually fly. I cry every time. So, into the review of this set, we just have this blade here, and as it rolls, it moves the thresher, though when it comes back, it kind of stutters and doesn't really work, but it moves the header perfectly as it moves forward, and fairly consistently. Basically, the wheels here, they're connected to a gear system, which then spins this trans green blade, and that blade just grabs the long pipes of flex tubing here, spinning that around. Because as you can see, if I just spin this, it spins the wheels as well, because they're on the same gear system. And this Combine, I really like the way they did it. It's a very simple design, except it looks cool. So it's a bit of a combination of futuristic and sci-fi with these tubings and giant glass cases and trans green. But it also looks old and worn down, because once again, it has those same patching details as on the tractor, some over there, and then scratches along it and patching, and the dark tan just makes it look really worn out. And then it just has these tubes here, these kind of containers and vessels. I'm going to take Scarecrow out so you can see the cockpit a bit better. There's just a steering wheel there. And I've been in a Combine, so I know that it has a lot more than a steering wheel, and they should have put some more controls there, because Combines have very complicated controls. I know because I've been in one and ridden one, and I've actually been able to drive one. And then it just kind of has this roll cage there, real detail, and then it has this pitchfork attached to the side, which you can then take off and give to Scarecrow. And then he can then use this pitchfork to stab Batman, because that's what Scarecrow does with pitchforks. And that just attaches with some very simple clips on the side. If you move it over to this side, there's a bit of a light detailing there, using these gold pieces that I've seen used in numerous sets in very different ways. And I think those pieces, they just have a numerous amount of uses. I can't wait to see some more ways that LEGO has used them. And then also over here we have a stud shooter. And I'm excited to see that LEGO is using stud shooters to launch more than studs, because it is launching a stud base, except studs can be built on. So they built this canister of fear gas. It doesn't launch nearly as far or as quick as a stud, and that's expected because it's a lot heavier and a lot larger. And I just knocked it out that time. That's not actually firing. It fires pretty decently, but I actually like the fact that it fires slower and not as far as studs, because sometimes those studs just shoot out and get lost very easily. And then in the back here, we have 3 more canisters of fear gas in this container. And this container can then also be propped up and turned. And you can just set it up in various ways. So when you fully prop it up, that kind of falls open, so you might want to lean it a bit that way. And then you can also use this to take your victims and put them in kind of this container of fear gas. And then this tube just connects there, supposedly like imaginarily pulling the fear gas out of those tubes up and into there. And then he can also be in there laying down. And there is enough space to take all 3 of these canisters of fear gas and put them in there with him. So that way he's trapped in there with even more fear gas. So the first minifigure, which is the civilian minifigure in this set, is this farmer. And he looks kind of like a fat slob. In fact, he has some fat detailing there, and then a bunch of food stains on his shirt, food stains on the back, and just more flab there, and his shirt doesn't even go all the way down. And he's meant to just look very fat and slobby. And I think it looks good, and I know farmers, so I know this isn't what most farmers are like. which is kind of funny. And then he has that screaming face, which is used on a lot of civilian minifigures because, you know, they're in the midst of a giant superhero battle, and normally they don't have room for a backside. And if there's a bunch of superheroes and supervillains battling, you're going to be screaming too. And he just has kind of some jean short looks, within this very simple dark red baseball cap. So next we have Gas Mask Batman. He has some, like, breathing apparatuses and a belt detailing there. And he has one of these gas mask pieces, which I've seen used in Crossbones Hazard Heist. And then he has this Batarang. And the set does come with an extra Batarang, which you could also give to him, or you could just use it in builds, which is what I'm planning on doing. And then he just has that mask, and as you can see, green eyes there. And I'm going to take all this off so you can see the rest of the printing better. So now with the cape, cowl, and gas mask removed, you can see the printing a lot better. You can see that front printing better, and you can see what it looks like under his mask and how that works. The eye holes just fit up with that green there, and then you have the breathing mask under it. And if we turn it around, you can see some more of that tubing and belt on the back. And then normally on Batman minifigures, it has a face like this, and normally just double-sided like that to get different expressions. And then a white headband, and that headband lines up with the eyes there, except this time it's green because he's in the suit with the green eyes. And this is for when he takes off the gas mask. So the next minifigure is Scarecrow, and he has some patches on his knees, and this rope belt dangling down, and some rips and tears, and then kind of that weird feathery thing that hangs down around Scarecrow's necks, and that has holes, and there's wrinkles all over his outfit to make it look very worn down and tattered. And then also that rope belt continues, and there's more wrinkles. And on this side of the face is just his mouth sewn shut with his red glowing eyes like you normally would see. And this is a very cool hat with this dark reddish tan brown color for the majority of it, and then the sand tan there for the hair. And that's all one piece, and if we take that off, you can see that he doesn't have a double-sided head, which I think they should have done. And now you can see a bit of that back printing a bit better. On the back of the head printing is just kind of the stitches of his mask being attached. So next we have Blue Beetle, and I know a little bit about this character, but not much. And he has one of these energy blast pieces, just a transparent blue radar dish. And once again, it's using one of these pieces where it has the nega stud, and then the bar attaches to their hand, the nega stud attaches to the radar dish. I've seen this used in Doctor Strange, some series minifigures, and Spider-Man, and I've said this many times before, and I'm going to say it again. If they made that in transparent green, they could use it for Green Lantern sets as the Green Lantern ring. And so back to Blue Beetle, we have some fairly detailed but fairly simple front printing where it's just some silver lines and they're very shiny. Some very simple blue there. And then just fairly simple face print with the yellow eyes and the grin and some black around there. And now I'm going to take off this after I show it. It's this blue part is rubber, and that kind of causes the horns and stuff. Then he has this wing piece, which I haven't seen anywhere, and this is slightly rubberized as well. It kind of has that beetle thing, so it looks like the wings are actually popping out of a beetle's back. Now with all that other stuff off, you might be able to see the face printing a bit better, and also we can see the back printing. Where once again, those silver lines carry over, and you can see a bit of like a blue with yellow detailing of kind of a beetle-ish looking back. And then he also has double molded legs. So the final minifigure is Killer Moth, and I don't know much about him. Pretty much all I know about him is from this set. I know what he looks like, and I know a bit about his arsenal. At some point I'm going to Wikipedia him. And his legs, they look very funny. They're orange and lime green striped. Sadly, the stripes don't carry over to the back, but they just look very weird and whimsical. And then on his front, he has some muscle detailing, that yellow Killer Moth logo, with then the yellow belt. His arms are purple, hands orange, and you can't see any of the back detailing, but you can see his orange butterfly wings there. And he just has this plasma gun here, where it's just this gun, and one of those gold pieces that you saw used for the light on the Combine, except this is clear and then It's a transparent purple radar dish piece. Then he just has this green helmet piece, which is very cool looking and specially molded for him. It has the antennae, the kind of pincers, and the going downward mask. And I could see this being molded and like chopped up and painted and customized. And somebody could create whatever that other DC character is, like Faith or something, that guy with the gold mask, not sure what his name is. They could create something with this because his mask kind of reminds me of that. And now looking at the face, we can see those red goggles, and he's just kind of snarling, and then the green around the sides. And then on the back, this kind of reminds me of the Scooby-Doo sets where they have a reverse head that shows the character just out of the mask with just this wrap around their head. And he's screaming there because they just got him. Now with the wings off, you can see the very little back printing where it's just some muscular detail and that belt. So my overall thoughts on this set is it's a very neat set, though the Batcopter is a bit too big. And the minifigures are really cool. And it's just a very rustic-y looking set. And I don't know why, but for some reason, I really like this. Peace.